intelligent and doesn't take an audience for granted, and is helmed by someone who's enormously talented and who has really gotten close to having this kind of experience before.
So you were in film school?
Oh, myself. I did. I never finished it. I did college, which was a liberal arts school, but I had a sort of, it was a self-design major. So I shot a film as my thesis for undergraduate, and then started taking some graduate classes in New York at NYU, and then basically started getting some work as a commercial director, and started learning a whole lot more, doing that, and it was incredibly expensive to go to school and take classes, so I stopped basically, a couple years later essentially, and just started working,
And do you consider yourself a writer?
I do now, because I've got 2 children and a family that I'm supporting, and that's what's supporting it right now.
That's how you get a movie made, is by writing your own script.
That was my path. I'm not a good enough, I don't have the patience for it, I don't have whatever for it, to sort of really have ever, frankly, now looking back on it, fully dove in and into the sort of LA, how you build the directing career. And so I felt that the only way I was probably, with my personality and everything else and my skill sets, going to get a movie made was make a little movie. And I, wrote it for myself, basically to shoot. When Zach and I and his partners first started, we wanted to shoot the film for a little bit under $1 million and do it that summer. And then basically, almost, it's interesting to think about, but these talent started attaching themselves to it.
Because they saw great parts.
Well,
and you had a great part for you to play.
And that was what was interesting. And then our budget had to grow a little bit. It never grew too far. But all of us fought for the fact that.
So 3.5 was the final budget?
It's probably a little south of that, actually. Probably a little lower. There's some. But it's certainly in the.
And you got waivers so you could shoot in New York.
Yeah, there's a wonderful tax incentive program in New York, and then there's for New York City, as being a New York City filmmaker for 15 years, the union has a wonderful. It's basically a waiver, but we were able to. It's called Tier 1, and so we shot the film Tier 1, which meant it was all union labor. But
you went on guerrilla style on the subway.
We didn't. Interestingly, when you start to have the talent, I've done a lot of guerrilla filmmaking in my life, commercials and other things, higher budgets than this. But when you start to have the talent that we had there every day, it becomes very dangerous. It's just not appropriate to be sneaking around too much.
So, Zachary, you apparently were involved in wrangling some of these people, I understand.
Yeah.
I was really active in that casting process and in reaching out to people, some of whom I had known a little bit and others of whom I hadn't met, but felt like I wanted an opportunity to express why we were making this movie and why I believed in it and why I believed in us as a young production company and in JC as a first-time director and in the quality of the material. And so I think getting a chance to do that, and CAA, at the time that we made the movie, I wasn't represented by CAA, I now am.
Amazing how that works.
But 6 out of 8 of the principal actors in the movie came from that agency, and they were incredibly supportive and really helped me in my endeavors to reach out directly to their clients.
So who came on board after you?
Kevin was the first one to sign on.
Which is the best part?
Yeah, in a lot of ways I feel like there's it depends on who you talk to, I imagine, perhaps Paul and Stanley and the gang.
Well, interesting if you actually do it. Ben Kingsley was the first person who came on after you. That was for Jeremy Irons' part, and unfortunately due to scheduling. But that first summer, you attached yourself, and it didn't work out. But it was and that was that part. And then Kevin, though, and Zach, when we went to Cannes, basically, frankly, the two of them, helped finance the film and got the film made in May. When Kevin
so you went to Cannes and sort of
no,
did.
But Kevin attached himself to the project, and
then you could
they were
sell
able
it.
to take it to Cannes with us attached to it.
Kurt D'Amico at Myriad went and was able to get them momentum.
But this amazing cast. I love that you had some of them using their own accents, and then you know, like Jeremy and Paul,
Yeah.
and then Simon Baker had to be American though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did it
And
well,
he's-
really,
yeah.
really
He
well.
was smarmy. I liked him.
Yeah,
He was
really
totally
good.
convincing.
Yeah,
He
right?
was.
Everybody was good.
No,
Everybody.
we.
Demi was good.
Yeah.
I, you know, from my viewpoint, it was obviously from the talent standpoint, it was an embarrassment of riches, but it was also a challenge because you've got. I mean, those are, you know, actors that people know, obviously, and when they come on screen, you know, it takes an audience a little bit sometimes to forget, you know, who they are and get into the character, and it was an unbelievable experience, almost up and down, up the line, to watch everyone just transform themselves.
And the
into
way that
those
everybody
people.
came to the project, you asked who the first person
Yeah.
to sign on was. I think the more interesting story is the last person to sign on was Jeremy Irons, who got an O1 visa in unprecedented.
Well, I don't say the exact amount of time it took to get.
Well, it was an
It
unprecedented amount of time.
It was
to the
very
point where,
short.
like, the consulate was like, "We've never issued a visa this quickly."
He literally got on the airplane before July 4th weekend, was supposed to be flying in, and looked at his visa, and it was expired. And we were shooting him, you know, and you're in the American Embassy in London, and so they're about to take a 4-day holiday, because it's the 4th of July. So we were supposed to be shooting with him on the 6th of July, I think, and he had just noticed, you know, this severe issue. So they got him a visa. So
But just to say that the level of preparedness and the way that he came so ready to dive in, and the sense of collaboration, the sense of ensemble was really remarkable.
But coming from a big budget movie like Star Trek, right? And
Yeah.
I know you do theater, and I know